Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our run in Victoria 3 as Punjab, formed from the Sikh Empire initially. We are going for the Empire under the Pun achievement, which if we sort by achievements, go to possible, we'll see very hard an Empire under the Pun, starting as the Sikh Empire, which we did, subjugate Great Britain. So things are going along pretty well. And last episode we left off with a couple, it was pretty chill. We plus 50% to construction, we plus 50% to the GDP. We're having a pretty nice come up here. We also learned a new landing trick here in Borneo, where we discovered that even though we have only one ship in both of our navies, we can still land using the landing trick, because if we land an army, they will get tied up with the army that was here in Brunei, and they will get tied up with all the Brunei's soldiers, such that the second landing just automatically gets through. There's no fight, because all of them are tied up in the first battle on the first front, which is a bit of an exploit, but it is helping us because we only have 2 boats. We have an admiral for each boat. This guy is even a politician, but we have 2 boats, and so that's our current situation. Last episode, we kind of left off with this question of where should we expand next. I was looking for some things, and I found something pretty interesting here, so we'll talk about it, which is that, okay, we were thinking about declaring war, or just looking forward to getting recognition. And we noticed if we declare a recognition war on Russia, France and Great Qing join because they are in a defensive pact here with Russia, and also whatever reason they have a defensive pact and an alliance, don't ask me. But there's also Belgium, and Great Qing would also join against us. However, if we declare war for this, and we take a look, we just have to fight Russia. So it seems to be the case that you can dodge alliance matrices by declaring war on a subject. Now, in this run in particular, Russia is actually pretty caked up. Normally, Russia is not very strong, but as far as GDP, they're way outstripping France, who is also outstripping Austria. Austria is having a bad time of it. This is my first run on this patch where Austria has not just gone Giga Chad mode. We don't see dad bod Austria, we see normal Austria here. And so, okay, this is a bit interesting. But anyways, we needed to figure out what place to expand, and I've decided probably the best place to expand it is in Zululand. The problem is the landing, but I think that so combat width is determined by infrastructure, and I think that there's enough infrastructure here with the 45 that we will be able to get a landing on Zululand using the trick with the 2 boats, or they'll just back down. We're gonna go for a vassalage, which is a little bit risky because I think it makes great powers more likely to join in place against you, but okay, we want to try and go low infamy. We can't dominion people. We have a decent amount of infamy, or sorry, not a decent amount of infamy. We have not actually conquered all that much because we are running, so you actually get a lot more infamy when you are unrecognized. We are unrecognized, and so we've been generating a lot more infamy for our conquests in general, and so because of this, we actually haven't conquered that much, even though we've been decaying infamy basically since the start of the game. You know, we're 36 years in, and we would like to get recognized so we get rid of a lot of these malices and this type of stuff, but we'll see what we can do. France stopped damaging relations. This is nice. Why don't we stop damaging relations? I'm not sure if we will go to war with them for something, but we don't need to have a negative relation. You know what I mean? We just need to have not positive to be able to go to war, and we will put in some extra war goals here on them. We want to ban slavery. We're going to make this primary because one of the war goals that people will often do against you when you have unrecognized powers or unrecognized subjects is they will come on in and try and either ban slavery or open the market. So if we do that ourselves beforehand, then they can't do that. So they can't finger our pie over that. So that's going to be that. Let's see if we can do anything with this extra bureaucracy float we got going on. We do also have, so Central Archives is, which I think we just researched, is much, much better when you have really high pop countries like what we have. Let's see, where is it? Central Archives here. Because when you turn this on, the PMs in particular do give a lot more Zulu backs down. Perfect. So we don't even have to do the landing trick. But let's talk about this in government administrations. The government administration go to standardized filing system. It adds a lot of tax capacity, and we have a tax capacity problem. And so even though this is like adding more cost, it is to a large extent going to pay for itself, not entirely. So we do want something to do with the bureaucracy, but it will pay for most of it. And so this swap is very nice, especially if you are running, as we are, insufficient tax capacity in some areas. And so this PM gets better when you have insufficient tax capacity like we have. But I'm thinking that, you know, over the course of this episode, we want to prepare to be able to fight Russia or France for recognition, and be doing that next episode. I think that's kind of about where we want to be. We're losing a little bit of money here, but this is fine. We have a new subject in Zulu. We do want to be annexing Benin sometimes in the near future, whose truce was relatively, it's like 2 years, so we can kind of just chill a little bit. We do have a decent amount of infamy now that we have subjugated. Actually, you know what we could do is we could just subjugate Orange here, right? Or Transvaal even. Orangey is the better one, though, to annex earlier. So we'll take a quick save, just make sure nothing weird happens. Like, for example, if we get booted out of if we get booted out of the UK's market because they decide to randomly join against us when we're trying to expand their market, what will happen is it will be impossible for us to jump back in, and so we don't want this. But let's try banning slavery and just doing the exact same one. I think we kicked ourselves above, what is it? Yeah, we did kick ourselves above 25 infamy, but this is not the biggest deal in the world. We will put a couple guys over. Just a couple. And the reason why we're doing 2 instead of just 1, because 1 would be sufficient, is because we want to delete these barracks. Why can't we? I'm guessing we have an uprising movement. Oh, no, wait, because they're not our, we didn't conquer it, we just subjugated them. Okay, fair enough. I used to really, really like puppeting Zulu, you know, before this patch, because they don't necessarily have as much resources themselves. They have a relatively high population, and so puppeting them was preferable, but then annexing Transvaal and Orangey, because they are the ones with the gold mines. Although we're not annexing right now, but we are kind of doing it the lower infamy way. We get elected bureaucrats, big nice. Alright, so that will make institutions a little bit cheaper, and long-term, this used to be a little over 300, long-term, it will be better overall for us, and the petite bourgeoisie, very happy with it, which we're getting bonus to loan interest rate. We could even deficit spend as long as we had that, but I think that that's a little bit loose. So we would want guaranteed liberties. This is one that we would want. We would also want free trade, and it looks like we could probably sneak that in right now. It'll radicalize the landowners and the rural folk. So let's just take a quick look. So the rural folk, not too big. The landowners, a little bit big. The landowners are already really upset, though. We could go for a dedicated police force as well. I think I like this idea because we do have some areas with turmoil that are fairly incorporated, you know, either incorporated or somewhat incorporated. And we are getting turmoil from, a lot of it's from radicalism. And we have a lot of radicalism, and it says that it's like because standard of living problems, but it's not just standard of living problems. It's also the fact that their standard of living is low because they're discriminated against and they can't find as good of jobs. And so we'll do that. We will look to, I think, decrease taxes. We're kind of hitting an inflection point. In particular, once you get onto proportional taxation, decreasing taxes gets a little bit better. It also gets better when you run out of peasants. We're not that close to running out of peasants, and so that's kind of why we're keeping the taxes up a little bit. But I think we're going to look to, in the near future, decrease taxes. But for now, we want only one thing, and it's construction. We'll just put a smattering out here. Probably better to just put them in where there's the most labor. Orangey backs down, which is big nice. So we'll probably just be chilling. And now we see that we are getting no progress. That's because we don't have an interest there anymore. So we'll put it back in now that we have native interest in South Africa as a result of our subjects. And this will also give us another point of ingress into the Congo. So we will have this into the Congo, this into the Congo. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Kenya, which is big nice, a really good one to have. Why does it go down to speed 1? We are starting to come up on the money a little bit more. I'm thinking that So we might even be able to fight France right now if we were to get general staff for recognition, but the real problem is they have a defensive pact, right, with both Russia and China, and we can't fight into that matrix, right? And so the question is, and we would really love to fight France also just to take, you know, Timbuktu from them, so we could get into Messina. And so it kind of raises a bit of an interesting question. Can we find a subject of France, actually, that we can declare war on, with the same way that we are looking at the subject of Russia? And I don't see one, right? We see alliance, defensive pact, rivalry, trade agreement, owes obligation. So we might have to go for Russia in order to get this. Once we get our Congo interest activated, this has been kind of split up. And it looks like that is unfortunate because we were spreading that and we were going to be able to attack Congo off of that. And now France just kind of swoops in there and takes that little bit of land that we wanted. We are starting to run a little bit of negative bureaucracies, so I believe it's time for us to turn on these, because to some extent they will pay for themselves. And now we have a ton of excess of this, and so we'll come up on this as well. What is this? Orange River Aristocratic Revolt. And we can't get there. Oh, this is frustrating. So we're just gonna lose our dominion here, right? This is what happens. If this war is lost. But I think it will be, because the Aristocratic Revolt. Alright, how many troops do you have? 5 plus 22. And Orange River Sovereignty. Orangey. Has nothing. And we don't have a way to get in here, so we're just gonna lose this. Man, that doesn't feel good at all. It's kind of annoying. Maybe we just roll back and annex Orangey instead. This is like such a stupid thing because we really should have military access through Zulu, and this should not even be the slightest problem. But Zulu doesn't get called in because it's a subject war, so it'll be just us and, you know, the Orange River sovereignty, and we have no way to get into there. And so I'm just gonna load the... Like, military access should be a thing in this game, but it's not. It should especially be a thing through your subjects, right? And it's also, once again, not. So, instead we're just going to annex Orangey here. Which is going to give us a lot of infamy, but I think it's still fine. I mean, I think it's really fine because we'll also get nice colonization, like, route and stuff. And this way we don't have to deal with any of that. We will come in and also turn this on, which is what we had done before. We'll also up the speed, because we kind of know where things are going, assuming nobody weird joins. And then we will come in here, we'll increase the institution. I think we were working on the laws. Okay, we haven't gotten the bureaucrats yet, but we will soon. We're floating a ton of excess bureaucracy. This is fine. It's adding construction. We, I think, want to add construction as well, so we're going to actually look at which areas have the most labor, and also, this probably has qualifications. This is kind of going to be a little bit of a problem overall, because we both don't have... We just got onto public schools very recently, and we don't have... We're also going to go dedicate police force again. We don't have... we have a lot of discrimination. And so when you have the cross-section of both discrimination, low literacy, and low standard of living, it does tend to lend towards actually having qualifications problems. But other than that, qualifications are generally not a problem. A little bit of a weird... Yeah. And we would have preferred to kind of do it the lower infamy way, you know? Where we vassalize and then annex, but this is also okay. Just as long as Mummy, dearest, is not upset with us. So we'll improve relations, because she is now cautious. Because we are infamous, and so we just need to chill out for a little bit. But we do, or we did have a defensive pact. Let's see. We don't have a defensive pact anymore, which is kind of big bad. Or not big nice, the opposite of big nice, whatever that is. But getting into orangey will be really good for us. And we'll have to figure something out. I think we want to damage relations with the British Raj. So we might be able to declare war on them. I don't know exactly. Some of the mechanics are sometimes very weird in terms of like what the game lets you do. But if we could take one thing out from under the British Raj, it would be Baroda. That way, if British Raj ever gets released, all of these lose access to the British market and will rebel. Alright, I think we can add even more construction here. And we have to remember the patent stills. We're going to add it multiples of 5. We're going to add it even though there's no qualifications here. I think we want to try and get make a bit of a push towards getting rid of the discrimination, because you see we have like a ton of labor in several places, but not the stuff finished. So we'll come to patent stills. That'll be nice. The rally run. A large peaceful demonstration for preserve no police has been broken up by militia. We will probably just take enactment chance. We'll take this one, and then we'll switch to something else if we get the negative roll. We got the negative roll, so we'll switch to something else here. Could do local police force, even more impressive. I mean, we could go census suffrage and look to juice up our trade unionists who are almost not marginalized. This is probably going to be good. We could also try and restrict child labor. Nobody likes that. We could go poor laws. That makes everyone happy. We could go property to women. That radicalizes the boyos who are already hate our guts. I think we're going to go guaranteed libs. This will make the armed forces a little sad, but not too bad. Because we are floating this huge excess bureaucracy because we did get, what's it called? We did the filing cabinets or whatever. Also, very importantly, taking orangey is going to give us access to a lot more iron, and same with Transvaal, a lot more iron, which is something I think we're kind of lacking, so this is really a nice place to get in on. We conquered there, and so we can go and establish colony here and here. And we can also establish one in Hero, maybe. Of course, that one will be slower because it's severe malaria, but that's kind of okay. We'll hit it with our handy-dandy smacky-wacky button to reset the PMs. And, of course, we will need a railway to be subsidized. If they don't start out subsidized, we probably don't need that extra one. And then we will want to build gold there eventually, but we'll want to incorporate. It is a 21-year incorporation because we're not European like they are. Dahomey. We'll just take this one for now. And we are hemorrhaging money suddenly, so let's take a little bit of a slowdown. I think this is probably fine, but I'm not sure what exactly might have changed. And so let's figure that out. For example, we could have gotten ejected from the British market, which would have been tremendously bad. Right? Goods for government buildings, government wages are coming on up. Goods for military buildings are going down. Military wages, subsidies are coming on up. So the cost of subsidies spiked. That would be a cause for a little bit of concern. And so, oh, it's because we just subsidized this thing and it's trying to employ up. Yeah, that's fine. But it is the subsidies on the railways. That's okay. We'll, I guess, figure that out. Man, no, that's only that's only like 1K of difference. Did the construction good cost go up? The construction good cost went up. And because we just added a whole bunch of construction. And we need to generally try and bring this down. We do not have a lot of... So the way we would want to bring it down is by producing iron ourselves. Unfortunately, we don't have basically any places we can add iron, so we can try and import it into the British market. Mummy should be handling this, but she's not. And so we can just look for the most productive routes, and specifically also just look to... We're actually just going to do all these routes and look to kind of pull down the price of iron. Specifically, we're going to get on steel frames relatively soon, but Yeah, and we are going to go nitroglycerin, and then we're going to have a think as to what we do next. We want to get general staff, like sometime during this episode or during next episode, like early-ish on, because I think we can fight them while we have general staff and they have general staff, and that this is a decent inflection point. Or we could even go for breech-loading artillery, something like this, which is like the last power spike you have for quite a while on military. So the combination of general staff, triage, breech-loading artillery, something like this. Or we could go more for society tech and make a bit of a push here. Or I'm thinking what we do is we make a push for shift work, maybe. But I think discrimination is going to be like a long-term problem for us, and then maybe we want to, you know, push society tech a little bit, you know, push the banking. Banking's like useful. I don't know. The problem is like all the society techs we have left to research are pretty bad. But I guess we could just go straight into human rights, right? And we will suffer a little bit of a malus, because for every other tech in the category that you don't have yet researched, you suffer a malus. But this one will auto-finish, so we'll only have the malus for 3 by the time we finish. And then we can do human rights. This notably will also bring up the other guys, and then I think we'll be able to transition pretty nicely. I don't know. I'm not sure if this is the correct answer here, but I think we're going to do it anyways. We are getting bent over on the subsidies, unfortunately. Or the construction good costs. Now, what else is in the construction good costs? What are we paying for? So, softwood, fabric, and tools. So let's see if we can import fabric. This is a good we would generally want to import. And so, we're going to see if we can import fabric and softwood too, to a lesser extent, because we cannot import a lot, or sorry, we cannot create a lot of wood ourselves. Let's look at just what's most productive, and we will want to, in a general sense, look for big routes that don't take a lot of convoys, because convoys is something we don't have a lot of. And let's take a look at softwood as well. Tuscan market is very productive. This won't use too many convoys, but I think we want to kind of try and keep them, so we'll do Liberian and Greek. Don't we have an adjacent to Russia's market? Oh, this is because it's overflowing to the next level. Yeah, we'll just import from Russia as well. And so this, we also just added a ton of construction, not just like a little construction, so this is another thing. So we'll increase the speed to 4 here. We do have a ton of infamy, so we're just chilling. GDP is up about 10%. We're really starting to look pretty vertical here. Remember, it's not the size, it's the shape. We are going to experience a bureaucratic shortfall. Wonderful. Once we have the bureaucratic shortfall, we will turn the rest of our buildings on over. Oop, let's put this on that. Let's put these on that. And this is what we can swap over once we have a need for it. And so, yeah, we'll just push ahead towards human rights. The discrimination is a bit of a problem for us. And I think that we just kind of want to eliminate this as a problem. Let the other society tech not spread to us, because it is. And then it just feels a bit uncomfortable to like push for this. But I think pushing for this and then going into, you know, shift work is reasonable. Otherwise, it's going to be, like, a little while longer. If they're below 20% clout, we will juice them up, because we do want them to get powerful, because this will double their bonuses, which will be quite nice, especially for us right now, the minus society tech cost. Why are we getting no progress? Did we lose an interest there? Alright, let's do that. Looks like, you know, France is coming in several spots here. So this would be a decent spot, let's say, to go after, you know, France. Except they have the Russia, Great Qing, like, triangle alliance. And so we got to figure out a way around that. We do want to make more money. Because you generally don't want to run a deficit. Although running the deficit right now, I think we're kind of in okay-ish shape because the petite bourgeoisie is happy and they're giving us a minus loan interest rate. And so it's not as bad as it looks, but still not ideal. Our Congo interest gets activated. Wow, this is unfortunate. We were hoping to go after Congo like this and then France's. Yikes. So if we wanted more areas of ingress, we probably have to now go into Portugal. Or we could do this little maneuver, but I don't think that that's that great. And it's going to be a while. Maybe this human rights idea is just wrong. Maybe we're supposed to go baking powder into shift work, like, directly. Because then we can 51 the unis. I actually kind of like this. This will be a lot faster, right? Because this will get 30 months. It's not even that much faster. Man, I'm so torn here. Discrimination is just a heckin' big problem. We're also going to get, like, a lot more... This will solve a lot of radicalism problem. And so, yeah. Gold here is a big reason why it's so good. The mines we will eventually build. What reason we're not pushing them now is because minus 75% state construction efficiency is a pretty big malus. But as we incorporate them, once we get onto some sort of police force, which I think we're not on, that will be a lot better. And now we're making money again. Money moves, that is. Classic. So I guess we finally, the construction goods, my guess would be the construction good prices. Yeah, we have this dip here. Brought on, I'm guessing, largely by our import routes. And we had kicked up the price of all the construction goods. Which means if we can kick up the price of the construction goods just by adding a ton of... Oh. This is what's going on. Alright, so we're going to take our look and we're going to start going for 31ing various things in Kashmir as we've 31'd a bunch of stuff. Now 31 is our current cap for economies of scale throughput bonus. And so let's do that here for the glassworks and the steel mills, because these will be needed in the near-ish future. And so, but yeah, and that of course is why the construction goods price cost dipped, and now it'll come back up. We are trying to decrease the price of the goods through import, because we cannot increase it ourselves. More than happy to pay 5% bureaucracy, because we're floating extra right now. We can also incorporate Niger Delta, which is a pretty big one. Don't hate this, right? Because it's a large pop area. I mean, don't necessarily love it either. Because they don't have that much manufacturing at this point. Interesting. Portuguese aristocratic revolts. Interesting. Wonder who wins that one. Thoughts and actions, thoughts and prayers. Let's go, baby. We are going to take the minus on the armed forces. Spain is colonizing the Congo. You don't see that too often. Look at you. I haven't seen that in a hot minute. In a hot minute. I think, like, since maybe the release patch or whatever, where everyone just kind of did everything. These guys are trying to puppet Ashanti. We'll say so long to you. We just still have a ton of infamy. I think we might save and try and annex Benin, though. Because Benin does have decent resources, and they're not building on themselves. They're just building millet farms. So... And we already vassalized them, and they already have resources. We're going to take a quick save. Hope that our pie doesn't get thumbed. Actually, I don't like this war. We saved, but we're not going to do it. I'd rather just decay and try and, you know, shore up and make this not cautious. We're going to improve relations again. And now we can't declare war, which is, for the most part, fine. We're just going to come in here, and we're going to only send one guy. We're also going to delete these barracks. Big, not nice. We do have 20 barracks, which is nice, but you see this? This is one of the reasons why we are struggling, because we can't hire officers because we discriminate too much. And so, like, Forgot we got nitroglycerin. Big whoops. We actually, like, actively research nitroglycerin, too. So it's the uber whoops. We will have a bureaucratic shortfall, but it's going to be fine. Because we still have a few more governments to turn on. Look at this line. It's really, really, really cranking up. The construction, of course, this is hurting, though. And so I'm not sure... We are... we just overbuild construction a little bit too much. I think we can build into this and then solve this problem. We just won't increase this, like, the amount of construction we have after this. But also getting up to 31 is going to be tremendous on a lot of these things. I think we have this auto-expanding. Yeah, we do. So let's also start trying to push this a little bit. Push these a little bit. We don't have a specialization there. Push these. Push these. And we're trying to really push the economies of scale. I think since there's no specialty here, we'll put it on tools. Tools is always pretty good. Solid bet. And we'll put them on auto-expand. And we'll do a little bit of smacky-wacky, handy-dandy. We do have problems in terms of market access. You don't say. That's because we're not the market capital. The UK is, and UK is fighting a little bit of a war ski now, and they are landing with some guys, which is causing them to have negative convoys, which is giving us negative market access. So that is what this is about. It's not too bad, though. It's like 80, 98% or whatever. Not the end of the world. If we had, like, a revolution against them, it would be quite acute. We're damaging relations with a lot of people. We can probably stop with the British Raj. And we're just going to take a look at what play we could try and do against the British Raj. We have a diplomatic play in progress. We're fighting a war. But it doesn't seem to be the case that we can't do it because of Great Britain. But we will have to fight Great Britain if we fight the Raj here. But if we fight Baroda, and this was what someone was telling me... they were saying that we would only have to fight the Raj and or the East India Company, and this is not the case, it seems, when it is a Raj. So I think when it's a Dominion, which the British Raj is a vassal, the East India Company is a Dominion. I think it's the case when they're on a Dominion that what you have is a... If they're a Dominion, you can fight them, the subject, and it goes after them. So in terms of if you are doing a run, it might be the case that you actually want to fight the East India Company a bit more than we did here in our run, but, okay. We will want to also get on dedicated police if we can. I think this is probably where we're going next. We could also, no, we can't do protected speech. We can also do free trade. Let's do free trade. This will make, well, yeah, let's do free trade. This will free up some of our, well, no, let's take another crack at dedicated police force here. And it will have us in a bureaucratic shortfall, but it's fine. Always has been. And I think we will want to, in the near-ish future, puppet Transvaal, the Crusade for Change. We will add some... Ooh, I really want to add momentum to the Radical Party, but enactment chance is so nice. Does the Radical Party have even the slightest chance of winning? The Radical Party, 4% of the votes. I think that your time will come later, my dear Radical friends. But we'll go dedicated police force for now. Looks like we're making money, which immediately makes me assume that this is the problem, but maybe it's our trade routes starting to kick in. We will get extra trade route competitiveness, which will be nice. Let's take a look here. And do you have a lot of labor? Got a lot of peasants. The problem is probably not the peasants. And so this is going up to 16. We'll put it 21, 31. So this is the max for economies of scale. We'll add a couple of these. And we will just kind of tend to our business here, looking to push these economies of scale bonuses. I think that's the closest one. Now, steel is not super needed right now, but it will be. It will be. We are enforcing on them, so that's not a problem. We are relatively infamous. Our GDP is up from about 75 mil at the start, so just gonna take a quick GDP check. We're gonna pass the British Raj soon. France? Oh, I thought we had passed France. Looks like France had a little bit of a come up. Austria and the U.S. is weak. Namely, the U.S. is particularly weak. We get smoothbores. And so, is there a good place to land? See, if U.S. had some isolated land, what we could do, you know, is we could look to force recognition on them. They are one of the weaker people who we could try and force recognize on. Right? They have no allies. The problem is we just wouldn't be able to land them. You know, well, I guess we could do the dirty, like, triple land. We would need to solve our discrimination problem first, though, so we could actually build a navy, because that's gating us. Because we do not have any coastal provinces with people we accept. Although we could just annex Sind to solve that. It feels like a little bit of a waste of infamy, but maybe it's worth... And we do want to vassalize Transvaal and then annex them a little bit later. I guess we could go for the annex Benin once we get low enough. We're starting to make some money, so we're gonna wait and we're gonna try and get rid of this interest. Interest is particularly acute on unrecognized powers. Yeah. We can't do this one yet. I think we need general staff, but we can see if it's nat spreading to us. It's natural spreading to us, which is fantastic. We could even let it nat spread to us and then go breach loading artillery like ahead of time or something. Just to kind of be quite a bit stronger. Free trade party crushes. Let's see if we can reform the government to make it a little bit more. We could make it a little bit more by taking those boys out. I think that's fine for now. This would also be just a little bit less, but we could do this. Let's do it. And we are running this, which is giving us a pretty big disapproval. Don't hate. So I think that what we're going to do is, can we get this up to... Okay, we're looking at this number here, and I'm trying to think if I can get rid of this. And then increase this by enough to put in a single consumption tax. Or it looks like it just will have enough to put in a single consumption tax. And so, because let's take a look at our lower rung pops. What are your needs here? You're not needing the services too much yet. The services tax generates a lot because it taxes, you know, these guys a lot here. And we're trying not to tax the lower strata, so what we could do is shift to, like, a luxury furniture tax, but this isn't going to pay out, I think, as well, as... It's not going to pay out half of this, I don't think. Yeah, not anywhere near. So we're going to just keep this in for now, but... Yeah. A little bit unfortunate. I can vassalize these guys. Making a decent amount of money. Again, we're trying to get out of the debt here before we add more construction. I don't think Kiva's got too much machinery here. And I think that these guys are actually almost... Nope, they're still marginalized, so we'll just keep making them unhappy because they don't do anything at this point. They will once we get human rights, though. So we are kind of coming on up on that. So that'll be an inflection point. Dedicated police force is coming in, hopefully. We'll see if we get a lucky tick. I wish we had access to more resources. We could just annex Benin. Maybe this is what we should be doing. We're going to add more to these chem plants. These are going to become more critical later. When we need explosives for construction. We get central banking, which is going to be pretty nice. Postal saving is spreading to us. Which is going to... The central banking notably speeds up our progress here, right? Because now we only have 3 techs. We're only going 3 techs ahead of time. And it's because we particularly want human rights. But I'm still just very uncertain if this is the way, you know? This might not be the way here. We'll take the guaranteed enactment chance here on dedicated police force. Interesting, we're seeing motor industries come on up. And tools. So this tooling workshops are going to be pretty nice. But we could put motors down somewhere else. We're seeing glass pop up. So we could put down motor industries somewhere else. We already have motor industries here. We could put these on auto expand. We also, I think, just in general, have a little bit more labor and accepted pops here. So maybe we just, you know, crank this up a little. We're going to be hitting, like, need for motors relatively soon as far as the tech tree goes. If we decide to go, you know, dynamite, steam donkey, and a pump jack, something like this. Because pump jacks demands a lot of engines. And maybe the UK is using a lot of engines too. This is something to just keep in mind. We're in the UK's market. They are creating most of the buy and sell orders. And so, like, if we... Yeah, look at this. Engines are expensive, so we can lean into that a little bit. In Punjab, we're not even 31 on the engines, so let's do that. So this is 11, 21, 31. And of course, we'll need to add a few rails ahead. Germany gets into the colonization game as well. It is in New Guinea, so it's over here, but I think we want to... We do want to slap around Portugal. We really want to get recognized, I think, before we, you know, incur a lot more infamy. So we are like struggling and kind of hitting against the points that we care about. We really want to get both human rights and general staff, I think. Human rights will allow us to not discriminate, which will help us to recruit officers in places other than the capital, because we will need to ramp up the military in quite a big way. Because currently our military power projection is 400, right? And if we are going to fight Russia and just solo Russia, they're at 2,300. And it's not like we can just, like, own them, you know? Also trying to get some flotillas here. That's probably not going to happen too well. Let's see if we can recruit any generals and empower any interest groups that we like. We are going to want another general in the Persia HQ because we want 2 landing generals. And we are looking to get juice up the Intelligentsia. We're trying to get them above 20. Oh, okay, they just got above 20% clout. So this is giving us 20% society tech cost and 50% migration attraction, which is big. Big. I think we're benefiting quite a bit from migration at this point. Although we don't have... I think it's kind of just in the capital that we're maybe benefiting. Yeah, it's just the capital, Kashmir, Baluchistan to a lesser extent. Looks like we're almost out of debt here, so we can start ramping up construction again. We'll take the bureaucracy hit. I think we can afford it because we have not yet done the thing. So let's do the thing. We get filing cabinets, and we're going to get identification documents. We can stop promoting social mobility in Punjab. The problem is it's like really like half our pops are here, right? And so it is giving us a whole lot of literacy. Which is helping us, you know, with what we're doing with tech. I think we actually, as far as increasing spending goes, let's try and deal with insufficient tax capacity in a few spots. So Kashmir, you got a few problems, okay. Eastern Afghanistan, Western Afghanistan. And we're putting these at the back of the queue because we don't quite need it yet. But what we will be able to do is we'll be able to ramp up some institutions. And so this is kind of why we're doing this, not because we need it immediately. And then, of course, in Punjab, we will just 51 it, which will be the max economies of scale bonus we can get once we get shift work, which we don't yet have, which is going to be next on the chopping block because we are not spreading general staff. Otherwise, general staff would have been next. We'll do baking powder into shift work next. Although we're going to get baking powder before anyways, so we kind of just wasted a click there. It feels bad, man. Try to keep that 8 p.m. up, you know, that Vic 3 style 8 p.m. Alright, we can add construction again. And we will just even some things out. Make everything multiples of 5. And this will cost quite a bit. But we are approaching 100k GDP, or sorry, 100 million GDP. 100 million. That's probably a good goal for the end of the episode, is once we hit 100 million. We are probably, yeah, no longer infamous. A little respectable here. We don't want to get ejected from the UK's market prematurely. I mean, we are eventually going to try and subjugate them, but we are not going for that yet. It's big sad that they broke our defensive pact with us. But it is what it is as well. Up to 600 construction. I forget exactly what we started. I think we started at like roughly 450 construction, so we're coming up pretty nicely in that, especially considering we're running like this huge surplus, which is going to go away like after we add this construction, but it'll equilibrium kind of to the point where we're still... I'm not sure what this national supremacy pop support does exactly. I think this is something that was coded in the game that just doesn't do anything at this point in time. And we do have one radical for passing multiculturalism, but we will look to create another one after we pass this law. So after we get dedicated police force, we are going to look to go either census suffrage or universal suffrage, and this will finish the path to liberalism event chain. And once we get this event chain, we will get another radical. So hopefully, but the problem is on the trade unionist, which is big, not happy. We get just non-event passing. Alright, we can't improve relations with Great Qing anymore. Let's see who we can improve relations with. I think we need to... I think we've decided that Russia is going to be the target. And so every GP that's not Russia, we want to not thumb our pie when we... Not you guys. Not you guys either. I guess this is the path we want to be on. We could also maybe think about bankrolling people. Maybe we want their forgiveness, so we'll just improve relations and see where that goes. We did take, you know, that province off of them, so maybe they hate our guts forever, but maybe they don't. Nejd is also a decent target here. We're going to damage relations with them. And, oop, let's make sure we're damaging relations with Transvaal here. We don't want them to get into positive relations. Now, we see that we can declare on Baroda, but this starts a fight with Great Britain. And so, eventually, we will want to release these guys, but not yet. Big sad. Gold Rush. Probably doing mine. It's all mine. North Borneo. One of the reasons why Borneo is so good, you get these, which give you lots of money when they get employed. We finished colonizing South Cameroon, which I think is down here. Which is big nice. No, I think that was somewhere else. We have a lot of these government administrations in the queue here. Let's take a look at our this. Looks like we're doing okay. And so now let's take a look at the buildings. And again, we're just kind of looking around. We're going to turn on baking powder, of course. We're looking to really push the economies of scale. I mean, I guess we could 31 it here, but we'll just do this. Oil's been discovered in Ontario. Feel like we're a little bit behind on the techies. But this is gonna be big. We're floating extra money, and we are going for shift work, so we will want that 51 uni soon. So why don't we just do that now? And we also just want more nat spread as well. Of course, we are getting modified by malices. You know, we're getting this weekly tech spread, and we're getting, you know, from this minus percentage from being unrecognized, minus from old ways, and so it's like we're not getting too much from unspent innovation, but you know, we're only a little over the cap. We're getting 120, so we're like 13 over the cap, and this 13 is going into here and it's getting split up and then modified negatively. And so once we hit 30, once we go 51, we will be speeding up a bit. Alright, UK is fighting France. What's this over? They want to conquer Congo. That's lols. I mean, UK things, right? We'll declare for the UK a little bit, right? It would be really nice if we could get this. Unfortunately, there's not reverse sways. We just want French Timbuktu, man. We want one thing, and it's French Timbuktu. But I think we could just join and make the UK happier with us, right? This will give us a truce with France as well. And if we have a truce with France, then they can still join against us in plays, because it's stupid, but... Please? Lucky tick? I mean, I meant a luckier tick, but okay. I guess. We have a bunch of government expenses in the queue. These are taking a while. Let's take a look. Are we running negative construction efficiency? We are. So we'll actually kick a lot of these to the bottom here that are all in the red. I forgot about this. Another reason to increase dedicated police force. Alright, let's do that. And then let's find our institutions. I think we will... Oh, we don't even have dedicated police force. That's right. Okay. Big makes sensies. We're trying to pass that right now. We are trying to pass that right now. Almost at 100 million GDP. 100 milli. Let's check our infamy here. Not the best, not the worst. Egypt's improving relations. We can annex Benin. We've been talking about this for a while now. We shouldn't talk about it, we should be about it. You know what I mean? Also, France might be distracted here, right? And we can declare neutrality here. And is there any chance we could just fight France for stuff? We could just go force recognition? No, because we have to fight Russia. That's been the whole problem. France has no subjects is the really big problem, right? And so we can't dow on... Ooh, they do have a subject. Oh, wait, hold a minute. We could go liberate subject, and this will start us with just France and Congo. Right? And then we can also demand recognition from France, and then stay on that demand recognition war, and then they will be having to deal with Great Britain and us simultaneously. I think I like this idea, but I also think it's time to end the episode. We got to almost 100 milli GDP. You know, this was a relatively productive episode. We did start to get into, you know, the South Africa good stuff, the South Africa goodies, which is probably the story of the episode. And our GDP is almost at 100 mils, so it's up by about a quarter. You know, our construction, we moved up by, what is this, from 450 to 650, so that's like a pretty big chunk, like another 50% again. And so we're in really good shape. We're about to get human rights, and so this will be really nice. Yeah, so we're really primed for having a strong episode next time, I think, more than anything. But this, getting into this, is just an incredibly good expansion spot. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and have a good one.